Nintendo is not the same company that it used to be before, and it's time we all admit that. I think we're all collectively agreeing that Nintendo is still a good polished company because they still deliver some gems. Things like Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Wonder, and even Donkey Kong Bonanza. But we have to open our mind here and see these games are the exception. They are no longer the norm. The games that Nintendo has most constantly been producing are completely stripped of any new content. They're giving us the same exact game, which they have always done. Keep this in mind. But this time they're giving us the same exact game without any expansion of the story, without any new mechanics, without any new gameplay, with barely any graphical improvements, and with stripped away modes like a story mode or stripped away modes like missions. So now Nintendo's games are a shell of their former self. And if you don't believe me, let's look at their most successful console, the Switch. Everyone agrees that this system has some banger games. Things like Tears of the Kingdom, things like Breath of the Wild, things like Mario Odyssey, Fire Emblem. It introduced Animal Crossing to a whole new generation. However, I'm going to repeat myself here. Those games are the exception. They weren't the norm. If you zoom out just a little bit from that gold, you'll see that it's surrounded by complete dumpster fire. Excuses for games. Mario Tennis was a Switch first-party game, and it was complete trash. It was a complete game, sure, it was polished, yes. However, it didn't introduce any new gameplays, it didn't introduce any new mechanics, such as interesting abilities to use, and of course, it stripped away a story mode, it stripped away missions, it stripped away battles. So proof right there that Nintendo was giving us less content for the same amount of money that they were charging. The same thing could be said with Mario Golf, the same thing could be said with Mario Basketball, the same thing could be said with Mario Baseball. Everybody completely ignored the fact that Mario Strikers came out. A legendary game was about to come out in the Nintendo Switch for the first time in 10 years, and yet it was complete and utter trash. It lacked all the substance that made Mario Soccer great. Yet we don't talk about this because we talk about gems like Breath of the Wild. But I'm making this video to let you guys know that Nintendo has not earned back our trust, and it shouldn't earn back our trust from the track record that it's selling right now in Nintendo Switch 2. Because we all know Mario Kart World was not worth $80. It's frustrating to think about it because Nintendo was a great company, and Mario Kart World really showed how Nintendo became like everybody else. Here are the similarities that Mario Kart World shares with Assassin's Creed, that Mario Kart World shares with your Call of Duties. An overbloated production in things that we don't want as gamers. Things like an open world. Things like overstuffed roster of characters. Wasting their money on things that don't matter, like slight graphical improvements. What's the difference between Mario Kart World and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe graphically speaking? Not much. Similarity number 2. A formula, a game that has so much potential, and yet they decide to do such little change to the gameplay. Call of Duty adds a different way of leveling up. Assassin's Creed adds just a new map. And Mario, of course, just added interconnected tracks. It's almost like the people making this game aren't a true fan of what made these games special. They just look at the spreadsheet, look at the numbers, and they say, let's try to replicate that process as closely as possible. And they water down the franchise in the meantime. And the third similarity, the one that hurts the most, the one that you could say truly sucks the passion, the soul out of these games, the complete removal of content. Mario Kart World's already open world. There's no need for a story mode. There's no need for missions. And no, whatever we had does not count as missions. You can tell that was an afterthought. Just like in Call of Duty, we added better gameplays in Call of Duty. Therefore, we can remove the zombie modes. We can remove co-op. A justification of removal of content that doesn't make sense to anybody except for people looking to make a quick financial gain, regardless of how much they're going to destroy the intellectual property of that game. So yes, I'm jumping on the Nintendo hate bandwagon because it is what Nintendo deserves. Remember, Super Smash Bros., a legendary game, a legendary franchise, the pinnacle of gaming mascots crossover, that story mode was nothing but a JPEG. Every game between the Wii U and the 3DS were interchangeable. That alone should have raised the red flag in our minds as consumers. Nintendo doesn't deserve us as fans because Nintendo does not make fun games anymore. Drop a like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more. I want to change the way we consume media, so follow along in my journey. I don't only want to be one of those YouTubers who complains about other companies. I'm also throwing myself out there. I'll be writing a book. So if you didn't like this at all, then stay tuned. You can also judge my work, see how well the media I produced was.